Good evening and welcome to the Monday, July 27th Maplewood City Council Manager Workshop. City Clerk Sint, would you do the roll call for us, please?
Councilmember Lee.
Present.
Councilmember Villavicencio.
Here.
Councilmember Cave.
Here.
Councilmember Juniman.
Here.
Mayor Abrams.
Here as well. Thank you. Council members, would someone like to make a motion to approve our agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Cave, seconded by Lee. The motion to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We have no unfinished business. We have one item of new business that I'm sure all the council members and myself, we are all anxious to hear this website preview. Mr. Sheeran, you want to join us?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. We've been working on the website off and on for the last 4 years. This is one of those situations where we might sit down over the course of a couple of months and put it together, but you're looking as we're constantly going, what needs to be updated, what needs to be approved, what can we do to refresh as we go. So we'll pull up the slide here in a second. And we had a couple of key priorities that we wanted to address through this. We wanted to have it more accessible. We know that in 2028, cities our size have to be digitally accessible under federal standards. So that was part of it. But in addition to just meeting the letter of the law, we also wanted to meet the spirit of the law by making the more visually pleasing, doing color contrast, those kinds of things that even if you're not using a device, it's just easier to read and it's more accessible for everyone else. Clarity was a big thing, and you'll see in a minute, we're going to talk a little more about plain language, plain writing. In fact, this week we wrapped up a plain language writing seminar with 15 or 20 key staff that who write for Maplewood Living. They write for the packets, so hopefully your packets are a little cleaner and tighter as we go. And then I think a lot of times when these sites get built, because they're built by Civic Plus, who does thousands of websites a year, they tend to be built for other governments. Now I talk to folks here and like, where do I find this? Where do I find that? It's one of those situations where we want to build it for the user, not people who already know what governments do. So that was the other piece we're looking at too. So we refreshed the main page. We have a cleaner front door and a better experience for every page. It's built for accessibility, plain language. Because of the strategic plan, we put a special emphasis on economic development, community and economic development. I know they changed that a couple of weeks ago. No more distracting banners. I know folks had sometimes complained that the main banner and some of the banners in the internal pages were big, bulky, and sometimes they were hidden by the text. So what we did is we wiped those top banners away in favor of a customized banner. The other problem on our site that you'll see now is in a lot of cases, the banner image doesn't match what's in the text, so we'll be able to customize as things go. One of the things we did is add mapping. So we'll have two maps, one for the development and one for parks. And I'll give you a demonstration on what the map looks like in a couple of minutes. But this is one of those situations where development is a key priority for the council. It's a key priority for the city. And we want folks who are in the community, when they see something going on, be able to just click over the map, hover it, and see what that project's all about. I know by looking at the statistics, every time sort of a crane hits the ground or a building goes down or vertical construction starts, the page that it links to gets a significant amount of traffic. People are interested in what's going on in the community, and we want to be able to get them there fast and take a look at it. This is also built, I talk a little about residents, this piece will also be built more for developers. We're trying to create portals for developers to find us, understand the projects that are going on, and have just a simpler way to interface with the city. Clear content. We had a lot of redundant pages. When we did this 4 or 5 years ago, we were able to get us from 1,100 pages down to 500 pages. And as time goes on, pages get created. A lot of times pages get created for a good reason, and then time goes on and you realize that page is no longer relevant. That event, that initiative that we put together has kind of gone by the wayside. We accomplished it, we moved on, and the page stays out there. It clogs up the search. So what we're trying to do is eliminate as many redundant pages as possible, and that hopefully helps when you go to search for things. What you need comes up right away. We also had a lot of content from other sources like the state of Minnesota, Ramsey County, University of Minnesota. That is better housed on their pages. One, because we're not the experts on it, it could get, when things change, we then have to go back in there and change or eliminate it. So again, we wanted to try to keep the pages with the most reasonable source who could make sure they're updating it, and so we're linking things now, or we're linking more things on this page and trying to cut out a lot of pages that have, I'll give you an example, Buckthorn is a page that we have 3 or 4 different Buckthorn pages that address multiple things. EAB is another one. I think we were up at one point to 5 different EAB type pages, and they all addressed something a little different. So going through and this is the information that we are the repositories of, but this information about the disease and the background, that's best off on the University of Minnesota site or the DNR site or wherever that needs to be. And then hopefully with a smaller site, it's more accurate, we're able to maintain it. I want to thank council. We met with each of the council members individually to go over some of the changes. One of the biggest changes was the color. We got rid of that green. We're going to a blue, which I'll show you in a second here. And then we had a lot of good feedback from council as well. And then I want to thank staff. We met with several key staff members who are in charge of the site. While communications maintains the site, there's about 10 or 15 different people that contribute to the site. So again, that was part of why we got together with the plain language exercises, so that when they go to rewrite for the site, when they put stuff on in the future, they're mindful of phrasing things in a way that the public could understand, the public could consume. The other piece of this is, and I think I shared this earlier, but just as a refresh, 200,000 visitors come to our website every year. It's a really big piece of information, and those are individual unique users. We have more than 400,000 hits. So when people come to the site and they come back, it only counts them the one time over a certain period of time when they come. So this is, there's more than 400,000 hits to the page in the course of a year. Average time on page is about 1:40. That sounds low, but it's actually a good thing, because we're not a site like the Star Tribune or a resource like that. People we don't want people a long time reading and diving deeply. We want to get them the information they need, if they need a permit, if they want to know where to vote, if they want to know how to file for a sewer line. We want to get them the information, get them on, and make sure that project isn't delayed by us. And so about 1:30, 1:40 on the page pretty much tells us they're getting where they need and they're going. They're not floating around. They're maybe hitting 1 or 2 pages. They're not bouncing from page to page to page, and that tells us that people are able to find what they need and move on. And then, again, we talk a little bit about accessibility. We know that 50% of our users are actually using mobile phones. So some of the changes in the design were to accommodate mobile phone users. We know there's also a situation where not everyone in our community has broadband, and the phones are our main source to city information and other pertinent government information. So again, designing it that way. The last time we did this, we had about a 50-50 on how people found us. Now it's up to 63% of folks find us through a web search. And that's significant, and it's getting even more scary because we have things like AI. And so what'll happen, that's why it's really important that the site on the content on our site and the information we push out there is accurate, because when you Google Maplewood something or something specific about Maplewood, a lot of times the first hit you might get is an AI summary. You might not get our page. They might not ever come to our page. So again, having great information out there is important. That also puts the incumbents on us to make sure we're constantly, not refreshing, but make sure we're constantly trying to optimize the page, because sometimes if the Google search engine optimization misses it or has old information out there. So it's really, really, really important that we're working with Google to constantly scan it. We're working with Civic Plus, who's our website provider, to make sure the site gets scanned so that when stuff does come up on AI, it is accurate. Here you go. Just the key pages. What we're trying to do down in the south leg for that new building hopefully comes out of this. We know the Wakefield Community Building is very popular, so having another building down in the south leg would complement that. Police, almost 6,000 hits a year. Building inspections, we know, is really, really important. More than 5,600. Recycling and cleanup initiative is really important, and then fire EMS. So we built the site, and we built some of the quick links to help get people to this information. Even if they don't come through our front door, they're able to get to us, find what they need. So we're just going to dive right into a live demo of the main page. I'm going to switch mics so I can jump in over here. All right, so we're just going to click up the site itself. And then here is what our new home page will look like. This bar across the top won't be there. That's for us because the page itself is not live to the public, so we have to use our internal editor. But this stuff where it says Municipal Website Central, that won't be there. That's the other cool thing about this page is if you notice across the top, that header bar stays as is. So as you're scrolling, and you're finding information that you're looking for and you need, that header bar is always going to be where it is. That search bar is front and center. You'll notice we went with the blue. It's more pleasing. We will have on this front page an image banner that'll, we could do a couple of different things. We could either circulate it, so every time you refresh, a new image comes up. We could keep a static image up there if you want as well. Kind of just depends on the time of the year and our initiatives. So again, because we know public safety is really important, we have the public safety quick link, community and economic development, which will have its own landing page that I'll show you in a minute. Wakefield building, trash recycling. Fix-It wasn't necessarily one of the top 10, but it's an important piece that when people have issues, we want them to be able to find what they need and go. And then parks and natural resources, again, 3 or 4 of their pages wind up in the top 10 on our total hit pages. We refined the news and highlight page. So right now, so you're going to see Maplewood living there twice. That'll go away once we go live. The reason why we have to keep it there twice is this is pulling from our existing page. So if we took the Maplewood living down in the bottom corner away, it'd be going on the main page. But on the new site, we'll have 4 new news items each time, and the Maplewood living will always be there front and center. Again, we know 60 to 70% of the people in our community know, love, and read Maplewood living on a monthly basis, so we wanted it to be front and center there as well. And so again, we just streamlined the click tiles, made them a lot easier to follow, not a lot of clutter on the images. Also, calendar of events. We went away from that grid view to sort of the next set of events that were coming up. We could populate as many as need to be populated on here. We're thinking 4 to 6 is probably where we're going to need to be here. And then you can then click in, view all events, and it'll take you to the calendar. The reason I'm not clicking is these are just model pages. If I clicked on them, they would take you to the existing page, so they wouldn't show. And as they build in the site. And then we have the Meet the Council page. So our council members will be front and center, and there'll be bios linked in there. And then again, toward the bottom, helpful links. And so that's the new look and feel of our main page. We've updated the icons. We streamlined and also too, we streamlined what's at the top. We cut out community because it just wasn't getting a lot of touches. And so City Hall services, business. This will change. Again, this green text is pulling from the current site. Once we go live, that green text will be white, so it'll be easier to read. And then business and development, and we'll go to that page in a second. The other new piece we have this time around, and again, this photo will be different when we go live. Because community and economic development are so critical to us, we gave it its own landing page. So its clickables will be a little different than the rest of the city. They get to have a little customization. I know they were talking about going with a group called, I think it's called Golden Shovel, that does these types of houses websites for local governments. We could still click there. As you see here, because we know how important code enforcement is, we led with that front and center. This development map will click to this, which I'll get into in a second. So when you click that development map button, it'll go into the map. Building permits, we know folks are going, zoning, rental license, comp plan. Same thing here, they have the ability to do their own custom news. We'll probably use the same news throughout, but the cool thing about this is they get to highlight a development property if they want. They get to highlight a project if they want. If they wanted to just have living, a lot of this is customizable as we go. And then they have their own calendar of events as well. And then the other piece that we have on here is the Maplewood development page. And we're right now in the process of populating this page, but this is the interactive map. You can look at proposed projects that are there. You could search by approved projects. And so right here, you can kind of figure out where in the community your project is going to be. Click on it. It'll bring it up. It should bring it to you. And then highlight over here. And then more info. And then again, the way our site runs now, it's kind of buried down in there. Now it's front and center. You can see the basics, what it's all about. And again, we're in the process of transferring the data over, so we're still working on this. The same thing will be on the park side. As you know, we have more than 50-some parks, preserves, open spaces. Similar thing, you go click on the icon, and much like the folks who use the state DNR, or I'm sorry, not the DNR, but I think it's run by the DNR. It's the state park system, and you highlight the park of your choice, and it tells you what amenities. It tells you if it has an accessible playground, if there is a picnic shelter there, if it has a restroom, if it has any kind of sport court or pickleball court. That's all available right in there. Again, the main pages will look similar. Here, let's see.
No.
Spelled wrong.
No.
No more soccer.
No more soccer. Well, we could have soccer in the soccer section.
Not on the front page, though.
Yeah, we could have soccer in the soccer section. So we'll just go on the PD page. And again, with PD, public safety, you'll have that. But if you go in the police, we'll no longer have, when you're in the police page, it'll no longer be a fire image. It'll be a police image. Because public safety shares a portal on their end of the website, we can customize their piece a little bit. This is going to be different. This right here will be blue. We'll have a custom image right here. And then again, the banner will no longer be there. And then again, we'll be able to do the website alert. We were actively working in their page, so that's why we're remodeling in case as we were going, it popped up. So that's the general overview. Again, we're trying to get to a page that's easier to use. We have increased transparency. It's more efficient to maintain. Accessibility is going to be really, really important. The thing that's baked into this page is there's a little image down, or there's a little function down at the bottom, and you could change if you like, or you could change the font however you want it on your end. You can make the font bigger if you want it on your end. If you don't like the sans serif font and you want to use Times font, you could change the font as well. I think that's currently baked into our site as well. So that's the overview. We're about a month out. We still have to populate a lot of pages. We still have to do the work around building out the maps. The parks map is, I would thank you to Mohammed, who's helping us build the park map. He's one of our interns. So, and with that, I don't want to go too deep into detail, but I'm open to questions.
That is a wonderful report. I think this is going to be a terrific website. It is clean and crisp, and I like the idea that it is, that you've enhanced the accessibility. I think this is, it's going to be wonderful. Councilmember Villavicencio has a comment.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a question about the calendars.
Yes.
So you said that different departments have their own calendars. on their page? You said that? And then, but what I was wondering is there a calendar that all the events will be on too that people can access?
Yes, yes. When I was talking about the customization for the community development page, that was for the news. The calendar will be one, no matter where you are on the page, if you're in the police section, if you're in the main section, or if you're in community development section, the calendar will all be the same. And we actually changed this a couple of months ago because we had two separate calendars. We had one for
Yep.
just city meetings and one for events. We just combined everything, and everything will be on one calendar. I think that's a lot easier for people to follow.
Awesome, thanks.
Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick feedback. The Fix It button was kind of, I think right now it's second one in. Is it possible to move that one over to the sign so that way it's, because I see service, 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 and then that's kind of that Fix It. I don't know if you have any feedback on where that goes. I'm just thinking about layout, like being on the side.
Yeah, we could, the good thing about those buttons are they're customizable, so we can move them where they need to be. In fact, in a couple of months here, we'll probably now, or as we're going through the site, we could change it to tailor to the season. So like elections is a good one. We could put elections front and center on that page, because we know in the next couple of weeks, we're going to see the numbers for people coming to find out where to vote, how to register, those kinds of things. We'll see that up. Yeah, so we can move those around.
Thank you.
Nice. Anyone else?
Awesome. All right.
Mr. Sable.
I just want to thank Joe and his team for putting this together. I know it's a heavy lift when you have, 15 editors, and they're all very passionate about the thing that they're passionate about, so they want to keep adding more words and more words and more words, and sometimes cleaner and simpler is just better. And one of the things that we have talked about is as AI uses our website to pre-populate those things, sometimes we might have to have some more text so it has more context. And so we're going to kind of be watching that as we go forward, but appreciate Joe and his team putting in that work.
Yeah. And 15 years ago, we were in the search engine optimization, so everything behind the scenes, we had tags and metadata behind the scenes, so when people use the search engine to find us, it came up clean, and it had, so on the search function in Google, it had our tabs, and it was really real robust. It wasn't just the one Maplewood click here. And we're trying to figure out how to optimize for AI searches. And that's going to be the one where we're just digging into this, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that shakes out.
Well, it's looking terrific.
All right, cool.
So
Thank
thank you
you.
very much for all of your efforts and for your team's efforts too.
Perfect, thanks.
It really shows.
All right.
Thank you. And that is our one and only agenda item tonight. So we are going to adjourn, and we'll be back at 7 for our council meeting.